Welcome to Scorched Earth and a general mid-month reading for the sign of Scorpio, Sun, Moon or Ascending for the last 2 weeks of January. I hope you are. I'm using the Lost Forest for you today. If you celebrated Christmas, I hope that you had a nice one. I think we're all familiar enough with what I do in the mid-month readings here. I'm not going to go over it again. I am going to shut the window. No. There we go. So, could I have 3 cards for Scorpio's current energy, please? Oh, the 2 come out together there. Oh, goodness. We have the Hierophant and we have the Tower coming out together. Intriguing. 2 more. There's another one. There's one down there. We've got the Knight of Cups. And 1 more for Scorpio. Fucking hell. We've got the King of Pentacles. I feel you pulling away from something, Scorpio. Something quite well established. We've got the 7 of Pentacles at the bottom of the deck. This is my card of sort of taking stock. It's looking around at your situation and going, well, is this right? It's usually actually an observation that there is something wrong with your situation and not quite being able to work out what it is. It's not that anything's wrong per se, but there are things that are not right, and it's my card of taking stock there. Now, I asked for 3 cards and I got 4, and this Knight of Cups is in the reverse. All the other cards are the right way up. And let's start with these 2 major arcana, because that's a hell of a way to start off a reading there, Scorpio. You've got this Hierophant and the Tower here. Now, these kind of follow on quite nicely from each other, in so much as the Hierophant indicates all of those things in your life that are established. So it can sometimes indicate institutions, you know, social institutions like churches and schools and things like that. It can also indicate marriage. It can indicate business as well. But there is a sense that it is doing things the way that they have always been done with the Hierophant. I'm not a big fan of the Hierophant card. It's a Taurus card, interestingly enough. And a few people have been pointing out that there's some South Node, North Node, Taurus, Scorpio axis going on. So I'm not surprised to see this here. But in the Lost Forest, it's a beautiful set of cards, but I don't know if you can see, there are a couple of skeletons in this card here. Oh, I don't know if the camera's going to pick it up actually. There's one in the trunk of the tree and there's also one up in one of the branches, and it's almost like to get to where this tree is, to have established itself in the way that it has, there have been casualties along the way. And, you know, one might say, arguably, that there were justifiable sacrifices, except that this tree is kind of twisted and knotted. And whatever is established in your life, whatever this card refers to, and it will be slightly different for each of you, it seems to me that it's about to undergo, or it is at least at this present time undergoing, a huge transformation. The Tower energy is sudden and shocking change. Often it's a blowing up of foundations, so that in the aftermath of the Tower's destruction, you can rebuild, or you can choose not to build at all. You can go somewhere else, you can do a thing, you know, but it's things coming to an end, and often unexpectedly. It's a kind of Deus Ex, kind of everything just blows up. So on the one hand, you've got a card that speaks very much about solidity and stability and tradition and the way that things have always been done, certainly the way that you have always done things. And then we have your card here, the Tower, that speaks directly to the blowing up of things that have been established, because it is time, right? Now, the next card is quite interesting. It's this Pisces card of the Knight of Cups, and it's often about leading with the heart. You know, it's quite a good card to have, although sometimes I feel like it's a bit of a triumph of style over substance. But it's about emotional messages. It's about the heart being open and communicating that to people, and the fact that this is coming out in the reverse here feels to me like there is some love that has been lost somewhere for something or someone, you know, whatever it is. It could well be that the love is for this situation, for the way that you have always done things. It's like, no, there's nothing there for me now, right? Everything that was has served its purpose, and now it is time for me to move on, because this is not a card of embracing something. This is a card of letting something die, and that's what we're seeing here with the Tower too. But we also have the King of Pentacles. This is a very practical card. It's Capricorn for me. Not Capricorn, what the fuck, it's Taurus. There we go, we've got your reading is flanked by Taurian cards. And if Taurus is in the North Node, then this is about you pushing yourself outside of your comfort zone, your normal boundaries, to do something different, to effect some big fucking change, actually, by the look of it here. Because something has been let go, or something is being let go at this point. I'm going to clarify this Knight of Cups because I am intrigued as to why it is here. You know, the King of Pentacles, as well as being Taurus energy, is about duty and responsibility, but it's also about building. You know, all of the earth signs are quite preoccupied with this idea of building, taking care of one's own needs. And I think that you're realizing that something has come to an end, and it is time to begin again in some sort of way. But you're not going right back to the beginning with things, because there's a wisdom with when any of the kings arrive. There is wisdom associated with it, and so maybe it's an understanding that you've been doing things the hard way around for a long time, and actually now with this clarity you've got, with the vision that you've got of the King of Pentacles, it's like, I can see the route forwards. I know the steps that I have to take in order to get to what I want. But I want to just clarify this King of Cups, Knight of Cups here. I had one out already. Ooh. How interesting. We have the 8 and the 7 of Swords. Now, oh, and there's the Knight of Cups again at the bottom of the deck. The sword suit can be quite challenging. I think the entire sword suit is very challenging, and some tarot readers agree with me, some disagree. That's fine. It's just the way that I see it. It's because I feel like everything to do with the sword suit, which is air, and it's intellect, it's reason, it's you know, it's intelligence, it's rationality, it's logic. It's everything that gets in the way of our hearts. And seeing these two cards here makes me feel that this is a realization for you, because the love that is lost, I feel, is the potential for love that could have been over the course of your life, because this 8 of Swords is you, and this speaks of mental restriction. I mean, there is no greater cage that we make for ourselves than that which we forge in our own mind, right? But it's here with the 7 of Swords too, and that's a card that speaks of deception. Now, I'm not suggesting that you've gone around lying to everyone, but what it does suggest to me is that there is an aspect here of having lied to yourself at some point, and that is all blowing wide open at the moment. I've seen a lot of the signs, a lot of indication that some of the signs have been engaging in some pretty deep shadow work, and I mean the energies of December were really quite intense, and it looks like there's a breaking through here, because this is your mental restriction. Notice that she's not tied particularly tightly. She's blindfolded, but if she wriggled her arms just a little bit, she'd be able to get that free, and then she'd be able to take the blindfold away from her eyes, and she would be able to see all the swords that were surrounding her. She would in fact be able to navigate through them and get to this place of safety, which is where you're seeing this castle is in the background here. But this is deception. And it feels like it's self-deception because it is coming after the 8 here. It's almost like the scales are falling from your eyes in a lot of ways. And I mean, this is what happens when we do shadow work. You know, we get presented with those sides of ourselves that we don't see. And it feels like you have seen them. And the Knight of Cups being in the reverse is the ways in which you have deprived yourself of that which you have wanted. without realizing that that was what it was that you wanted. You know, I think the Scorpios are tremendously practical, very resourceful. I've always been very impressed with that about Scorpios. You know, they're very good at problem solving, and that's because there's not much that gets past you, Scorpio. You observe everything, except sometimes yourselves. And certainly, you know, damaged Scorpios who spend a lot of time kind of careering from one emotional upset to another, and I'm not pulling out anyone in particular here, but like I've known a lot of Scorpios who have done that, you know, that kind of struggling through the pain that they've experienced before they get to a point where they can see a part of themselves, and the wisdom then of everything that they've experienced comes through, and you know, then they become very sagacious. But actually, Scorpios are one of those signs who I think give really, really good advice and very rarely follow it themselves, actually, I have to say. But there was another sign, I can't think who it is off the top of my head, and I'm getting similar sorts of vibes off this. It's like you can see something about yourself now. And it's having the result of making everything much, much clearer. That clarity that you were looking for quite a lot of 2021. I mean, 2021 was muddy as fuck in terms of knowing the route forwards. You know, what are we supposed to do? Personally and, you know, collectively. But it feels like the clarity's hit with this tower, which is a gift, actually. I always see the tower as a gift. It really feels like it at the point where, you know, everything's fucking falling around around your ears. But ultimately, where you get to after that, the tower is a gift. And being able to see yourself clearly is a gift. Yeah, it's one of the reasons why I'm always banging on about shadow work and why it's so important. Because you're judging the situation that's in front of you, not the situation from the past. And I think there's a great sense of release going on here. That's its release, rejuvenation. You know, you might not be all guns blazing just yet, Scorpio, but you do have a clarity that has been missing for some time now. I can tell you. There's one and two. Thank you. So we have the King of Swords in reverse. We have the Ace of Pentacles. Let's get one more. It makes perfect sense. One more, please. Thank you. And we've got the Two of Cups. What do we have at the bottom here? We have the Knight of Pentacles, and I like this for you, right? I've never known a Scorpio shy away from work of any description, right? You've got a really impressive work ethic in all things, but sometimes, like, the place where that's gone awry has been with you and your own personal work. You know, it's kind of like, ooh, no, that's a little bit too much. Like intimacy, which means vulnerability. I'm not having that. Thank you very much. I'm going to go off in this direction and work very hard on something else. You know, it's quite a lot like Capricorn in that respect, right? But when we come to the lesson, and when I say lesson, I like looking for the lesson because it's alliterative, right? You remember it's pretty good. But what I'm really talking about is perspective. It's about broadening your perspective and looking at things from different angles. Not something that you usually need any kind of help with in that regard, apart from when it comes to yourself. And I honestly feel, there we go with that King of Swords, Aquarius energy in the reverse, that your thinking has been so muddied because you've been using the wrong organ. Now, you are a water sign. Your emotions are actually your strength. You know, the depth to which you can feel your emotions is your strength. And 98% of the Scorpios that I've ever spent any time with have not, up until this point, have not been prepared to engage with themselves on that level, right? Their minds got in the way and they went, no, we can't do that because we know what this, we know what happens. you know, the heuristics that your subconscious uses start kicking in and go, oh no, I remember this situation of old, you know, there was a bit of interdependence and then they hurt me. And because you feel things so deeply, it hurt more than anything else you've ever experienced, and you don't want to do that again. So you meet somebody new, and you know, it's the same thing. It's not just with romantic relationships. It can be in all sorts of things. You know, every Scorpio I've ever known, again, has got a ride or die crew, right? And the loyalty is off the charts. It's huge, but it is almost impossible for other people to permeate that later on. You know. Not once you've had a few traumatic experiences, it's like, well, I'm not doing this anymore, and keep everybody at arm's length. But because the primacy of your brain over you, over your emotional situations, over your understanding of the world is shattering. That's how it feels. It's shattering. It's almost out in here like broken glass, everything just blowing out. It's giving you an opportunity to start again. We have the Ace of Pentacles here. Now, if you read the little white books on the Pentacle suit for tarot cards, they'll tell you that the Pentacles are all about, you know, your earthly material needs, and they absolutely are. So, you know, money and your house and your job and you know, the stuff that you have. But because it's talking about needs, I think it covers everything that you would see in Maslow's hierarchy of needs, and things like community and good relationships and stuff like that feature on that hierarchy, on that pyramid. It's not all just about the money that you've got in your pocket or the money that you want. You know, I see the Pentacles as energetic currency. So it's how you spend your time and your care and your effort as much as anything else. And it suggests to me that this rebirth that you've been going through is because you are stepping down your mind. You're stepping down the subconscious that is always looking for threats. So you did a lot of work on this last year, Scorpio, a huge amount. But look, we've got the Two of Cups. This is all about relationships, the kind of relationships that you want to have, the kind of relationships that you have had your entire life, and how you are changing the way that you approach them moving forwards. I think this is wonderful because although it's not overtly stated in a card here anywhere, there's an undercurrent here of an acceptance of vulnerability that is starting to come through, because you want to do relationships differently. And romantic relationships, your family, your friends, you know, whoever it is. But with all of this pentacle energy, this Knight of Pentacles here, the King of Pentacles here, the Ace right in the center of the reading, it's like you've prepared to put in a different type of effort, a different level of effort to bring all of this through. What I really like to see after a Tower card is an Ace, or the Fool, or something like that, right? Because we've got something coming to an end, but we've got something stepping into that void for you because you've made the space, or maybe the universe has made the space for you, right? But given that it's given that it is the Scorpio card of the Tower, I feel like you are making space with the realizations that you're having now. And what's rushing in is intimacy, Scorpio. And it's not because the people that are surrounding you are more trustworthy or less trustworthy. It's nothing to do with those other people. It's to do with the way that you understand yourself and what you are prepared to allow in. You know, intimacy has knocked on your door many, many times. And you quite likely have kicked it away many, many times. And, you know, not for nefarious reasons. Like, you know, I've said it before, like Scorpios get a really bad rap and they don't deserve it. And they're so much deeper. I mean, this is the problem, right? You just haven't been understood. Your motivations have not been understood. And the ways in which you have, you know, been intentionally or recklessly damaged by other people has not been understood. And I think possibly it's not been understood to its true depth by you either. You know, we can intellectually say, oh, well, this and this happened, and now, you know, I'm just not interested in trusting anyone. That's fine. But it takes very much the responsibility for your behaviour and sets it outside of you, right? You know, it's not a victim situation per se, but it kind of is. It's just like, I have been damaged by somebody over there and I don't want to engage with this anymore. Taking responsibility goes, you know, yes, I've been damaged by it, but, you know, I've worked through this and I am going to open up and I'm going to allow things in. Intimacy is ready to knock at your door, whether this is, you know, a person, some people, or whether it's just your acceptance that whoever comes along in the future is going to meet a different version of you than who you were 2 years ago, because you know yourself now and you are prepared to engage with yourself in a way that you have not done before. Does that make sense? I think it does. Let's get some cards of advice, please, for Scorpio. Oh. We have the Hermit in reverse. I like that. It's Virgo. We've got the Four of Wands. Look at this. These cards have turned over here. We've got the Ace of Wands. We've got the Ace of Cups. We've got the Three of Cups. And we've got the Page of Swords. Like, this 3 aces in one reading. There's been a lot of aces coming up for people, and I mean, I know it's the beginning of a new year and all that, but it's still surprising when it happens, right? We've got drive and passion here, but supported with an openness, a more forgiving and compassionate attitude to yourself first, and then also other people as a result. But we've got the Three of Cups, we've got emotional support networks forming around you because you are allowing yourself to participate, or at least are experiencing the potential to allow yourself to participate in these. And then we've got the Page of Swords there. You know, it's like a new type of thinking. It's a new way of perceiving the world that is now showing itself to you. But I mean, let's put those there for a second, right? Let's have a look at this. Got the King of Wands at the bottom of the deck here. You've got all kings and aces going on here, and I like this a lot for you. 3 kings, 3 aces, and it's the same fuck. You've got a king and an ace of each of those 3 suits. They all match. And if you were about to start something new, for me, the character that you would want to wield the ace that contains the full potentiality of everything in that suit would be a king, because a king has wisdom, a king has experience. King doesn't just, you know, he doesn't arrive there by virtue of his birth. He has worked his way up. This is about taking action. And for every king that you've got, oh, King of Swords. You don't have an Ace of Swords, you have a Page of Swords. And it's interesting. But the point is, kings and aces, you're in a strong position, Scorpio. And it might feel a little bit like things are all kind of blowing up a little bit, but that's okay. You can navigate that because you're Scorpio. Hermit in reverse. It's time to start walking out of the cave a little bit. You know, the Hermit is the knowledge that every answer you could possibly seek, or every question you could possibly seek an answer to, can be answered here internally by you. It's nothing to do with other people. You have been in hermit mode for a while. You have been acquainting yourself with what is going on inside for a while. And it's time to start slowly but cautiously edging out and letting other people know that, because it's followed immediately by the Four of Wands. Now this is a card of home. This is a foundational card. You're blowing up one foundation, which is potentially, you know, a little rigid, a little inflexible, and you're building a new one here. This is happiness and joy and celebration. Sometimes a wedding card, actually, interestingly enough. But it's like, you can't build a new foundation with the new relationships unless you actually get out there and let people see who you are. Because fucking glorious, Scorpio. That's the message. You are fucking glorious, and it's about time you let everybody see it, you know. Wow. Okay, but fucking well done you. I can see the level of work that's gone on in here. I can see the realizations that you've had. That's brilliant. Right, I'm going to leave it there. Thank you so much for your patience with me while I disappeared to do my work on the shadow work videos, but honestly, I could not open my mouth again on YouTube until I had done that and released them. It's almost like my throat chakra completely closed up, and it was like, no, you can only talk about the shadow now. So that's what I did. I am grateful for your patience while I did that, but normal service resumes now. So know that I love you all very, very much, and I will see you soon.